Hey guys, so this is the new reservoir for the Lian EVO XL case. The reservoir is made for a single D5 pump, single loop. It has a total of 4 G1/4 ports. It's machine finish, but as you can see, it's almost see-through. Once you add water to it, some of the machine lines will become almost invisible. It has a ARGB LED included. All you will need to do is plug this plug into any LED controller or directly into the motherboard. Just make sure that the LED controller is for a 3-pin 5-volt. The reservoir holds about 900 millimeters of liquid by itself. That does not include any of the tubes or radiators you might connect to it. The way you mount the reservoir, it's by removing the front original glass. You might need to remove the top, bottom, and side radiators if you already have them in place to allow for some space so you can reach to the 4 mounting points that are located on the top and bottom edges of the reservoir. You will also need a magnetic screwdriver, because these screws are really small, and sometimes when you're trying to reach into the 4 corners of the case, these screws could fall from the screwdriver. So having a magnetic screwdriver will make it easier. This reservoir will work in normal and reverse mode. As you can see right now, I have it on reverse mode. With the reservoir, there is a maximum of, let's say, 130 millimeters of space to the G1/4 port. So you can put almost anything from that will not interfere with the port coming out straight. Let's say if you're gonna have something maybe much thicker or something, you're just gonna have to probably do a bend or go up, or in this case maybe go down or something. But I designed the reservoir this way with a much simpler look, with only having one output and one inlet, because the way this case is made, that you can move the motherboard to either top, middle, or bottom tier. So when I was designing this, I tried to accommodate as many setups as possible, and having this moving all the way up and down, it kept interfering with ports. Or I had a different design where there was ports coming out directly to the CPU and directly to a GPU. But the problem with that was that every time I moved the motherboard either to the top or bottom tier, then those ports won't actually line up. So I end up going with this simple design. And yet again, for example, on this loop that I have here, I have a 60 millimeter radiator push-pull configuration, and still probably have maybe about 5, maybe 10 millimeters extra space that I could put this port directly into the reservoir. So you could put maybe even a 65 or maybe 68 push-pull configuration right here. Same right here at the bottom. Instead, I got a 45 push-pull right now, but I got some space. And the other good thing about this, having something maybe like this, is that I noticed that there is some people that they don't like to run their loop, let's say coming from a GPU going directly into a CPU. They feel like the hot water coming out from the GPU affects their temperatures on a CPU. So this way, the way I have it set up is that the output goes to the top radiator, comes back and goes into the GPU, and from the GPU I go down to this radiator and then to a CPU, and then finally to a side radiator, and then going back into the reservoir. The only thing I didn't put on these reservoirs are a drain port. There is no drain port on the inside. The drain port will be here, or if you have it in the normal mode, will be up here, let's say. And that's because every time when I was designing and trying to put a drain port somewhere in the middle, it ended up being somewhere in the middle of the reservoir. The problem is that when you try to drain the whole loop, it doesn't quite drain all the way. So I decided not to put any drain port. If you don't like seeing a drain valve on the front of the case, you could always just put a plug on it. And one way that I like to do when it comes time to maybe draining the system is by tilting the case all the way up, or at least on a 45-degree angle, and remove the plug and have the drain valve kind of ready, maybe with a towel close by, and just switch them up, and then I can put the case back and I can drain all the fluid out. The reservoirs will be available in the black and white bottom strips. I think I explained pretty much everything, but if you guys have any questions, just let me know down into the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.